Today we examine the specific legal and technical methods used to capture user consent in the digital environment, focusing primarily on the frameworks of clickwrap and browsewrap agreements. In the modern landscape of e-commerce and software services, the way an organization presents its terms can determine whether those terms are actually enforceable in a court of law. Typically, a professional approach to online assent requires a seamless integration between user experience design and legal requirements to ensure that a valid contract is formed. What this means is that we must look closely at the interface elements that signal a user's agreement to be bound by your company's rules. By mastering these methods, you ensure that your digital transactions are supported by a solid legal foundation that protects the organization from claims of unauthorized or unfair terms. Before we continue, a quick note. This audio course is a companion to our course companion books. The first book is about the exam and provides detailed information on how to pass it best. The second book is a Kindle-only ebook that contains 1,000 flashcards that can be used on your mobile device or Kindle. Check them both out at cyberauthor.me in the Bare Metal Study Guide series. A clickwrap agreement is a widely recognized digital contracting method that requires a user to take an active, affirmative step, such as clicking a button or checking a box, to show they agree to the terms. This active engagement serves as a clear signal of the user's intent, making it a very strong and defensible form of digital assent in most jurisdictions. In practice, the user is typically presented with a link to the full terms and must interact with the interface before they can complete their registration or purchase. Typically, courts find these agreements to be valid because they provide the user with clear notice of the contract and require a conscious action to proceed. What this means is that the technology is designed to create a definitive moment of legal commitment between the user and the organization. In contrast, a browsewrap agreement operates on the assumption that a user agrees to the website's terms simply by the act of using the site or accessing its content. These agreements are usually located via a small link at the bottom of a web page and do not require any specific, active click or acknowledgement from the visitor. In practice, browsewrap agreements are much harder to defend legally because it is difficult to prove that the user ever had actual notice of the terms. Typically, if the link is buried in a footer or obscured by other design elements, a judge may rule that no valid contract was ever formed. This inherent weakness makes browsewrap a high-risk choice for organizations that need to enforce significant legal or privacy obligations against their users. A major and frequently occurring pitfall in digital governance is the failure to keep a detailed and verifiable log of exactly which version of the terms a user accepted. Over time, an organization will naturally update its terms of service and privacy policies to reflect changes in the law or new business practices. What this means is that if you do not track version history, you may find it impossible to prove which rules applied to a specific user at a specific point in time. In practice, an auditor or a legal opponent will ask for the snapshot of the agreement as it existed on the day the user signed up for the service. Without this evidence, the organization's ability to enforce its legal rights or defend its data practices is significantly compromised. You can achieve a significant quick win for your website's legal defensibility by ensuring that your agreement button or checkbox is clearly visible and not obscured by other design elements. The goal is to provide conspicuous notice, meaning the user cannot reasonably claim they missed the opportunity to read the terms before clicking. In practice, this involves using high-contrast colors, clear fonts, and a layout that places the agreement prompt directly in the user's primary line of sight. Typically, a clean and professional design that highlights the legal nature of the action is favored by both users and regulators. This simple adjustment to the user interface ensures that the organization meets the threshold for fair and transparent digital contracting in a competitive marketplace. It is worth taking a moment to visualize a high-stakes court case where you must prove to a judge that a specific user clicked the accept button on a specific date and time. In such a scenario, the judge will be looking for objective, technical proof that the user was presented with the terms and made a conscious decision to proceed. Typically, the defense will argue that the interface was confusing or that the agreement was hidden, making the user's click meaningless in a legal sense. In practice, your success in this litigation depends entirely on the quality of your interface design and the integrity of your back-end record keeping. This visualization serves as a powerful reminder that every digital interaction has a potential future in a courtroom where evidence is everything. In the field of digital law, we use the specific term manifest assent to describe the clear, intentional, and documented action a user takes to agree to a set of terms. This concept is the cornerstone of contract formation, as it proves that both parties had a mutual understanding of the rules and intended to be bound by them. In practice, the more deliberate the action, such as typing, "I agree," or checking a box, the easier it is to prove that manifest assent occurred during the transaction. Typically, a professional review of an online flow seeks to maximize the clarity of this moment to ensure there is no doubt regarding the user's commitment. What this means is that you are using technical design to create an undeniable record of a legal agreement. Reviewing your entire online sign-up or checkout flow on a regular basis ensures that users are effectively forced to see the terms before they can proceed with their transaction. This forced navigation prevents users from bypassing the legal disclosures and ensures that everyone who uses the service has been given the opportunity to review the rules. In practice, this can be achieved by making the Continue button inactive until the user has scrolled to the bottom of the terms or checked the mandatory agreement box. Typically, this level of rigor demonstrates to regulators that the organization takes its transparency and consent obligations seriously. This disciplined approach to user flow design is a hallmark of a mature and legally sound digital business strategy. Imagine the significant legal and reputational risk if your website updates its terms but never notifies existing users to re-accept them or provides a way for them to opt out. When material changes are made to an agreement, the organization typically has a duty to inform its users so that their ongoing assent remains valid and informed. What this means is that a set-it-and-forget-it approach to online terms can lead to a situation where your current business practices are no longer supported by your historical contracts. In practice, this often requires an email notification and a mandatory prompt for users to click Agree again the next time they log into the platform. This ongoing cycle of notification and consent is essential for maintaining a compliant and defensible digital relationship with your customers. You can anchor your entire approach to interface design in the fundamental principle that the more explicit the consent is, the better it will hold up during a legal challenge. While it may be tempting to minimize the visibility of legal terms to improve the conversion rate of a website, this often creates a fragile legal environment that can break under pressure. Typically, the most successful and resilient organizations are those that find a way to make their legal requirements a transparent and trusted part of the user experience. In practice, this means choosing clickwrap over browsewrap and ensuring that every user action is clearly linked to a specific version of the agreement. This commitment to explicit consent is what ensures that your organization remains protected and respected in the digital economy. In this session, we have covered the technical and legal differences between various ways of obtaining agreement from digital users and the importance of professional record keeping. By understanding the strengths and weaknesses of clickwrap and browsewrap, you can guide your organization toward the most defensible and transparent choices for its online platforms. Typically, the most effective practitioners are those who can balance the needs of the marketing department with the requirements of the legal team to create a safe and productive environment. In practice, this integrated approach to digital assent reduces the legal gaps that often lead to unmanaged liability and regulatory fines. This professional discipline is what ensures your organization remains a resilient participant in the modern world of e-commerce. A highly effective technique for managing these agreements is to use a dedicated database to store timestamps, session identifiers, and version numbers for every user who accepts your online terms. This record should be immutable, meaning it cannot be changed once it is created, and it should be backed up regularly to ensure its long-term availability. In practice, having a centralized consent log allows you to quickly respond to a user's inquiry or to provide a bulk report to an auditor during a compliance review. Typically, this database is linked to your version control system so that you can instantly recreate the exact interface the user saw on the day they clicked. This high level of technical organization demonstrates that the company is in full control of its digital contracting process. Proper and disciplined record keeping of online assent is your organization's best and most powerful defense against claims that a user never agreed to your terms or was never shown your privacy policy. When you can produce a clear and time-stamped record of a user's click along with the exact version of the text they viewed, the burden of proof shifts back to the challenger. In practice, this level of evidence is often enough to end a dispute or a regulatory investigation before it ever reaches a formal hearing or a trial. Typically, the most mature organizations are those that recognize that their digital records are as valuable as their physical contracts and must be managed with the same degree of care. This focus on proof is what ensures that your governance program is a verified and trusted reality. This concludes our unit on how to validate online assent using clickwrap and browsewrap methods while maintaining the rigorous record-keeping required for legal and regulatory compliance. We have discussed the definition of manifest assent, the role of conspicuous notice, and the necessity of tracking version history for every digital agreement the organization publishes. A warm and very practical next step for your own professional growth is to take a moment and check the sign-up or checkout flow on your company's website today. As you go through the process, ask yourself if the notice is clear, if the action is affirmative, and if you would be able to prove the transaction happened 5 years from now. Moving forward with this observant mindset will help you become an expert at protecting your organization's digital legal standing.
Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.